Most people think of Reno when they think of casinos with bright electric lights and quick money. But if you've ever turned on the There Is a History channel, you know that. A business in that city that works with something much more interesting than poker chips with pornographic wealth. And at the Rick Harrison, the man in the middle of it all behind the porn shop made of gold and silver, not only ran a business, he built an empire made up of old, lost artifacts. There were deals and quick reflexes, and now the how much money he's leaving behind has shocked his family. You may know him as the calm guy on Porn Stars, but Rick's path to a $9 it's risky. To have a net worth of $1 million. Hurry up and make moves no one saw coming. Play the tape back to 1981. Rick was a young boy who works for his dad, Richard Oldman Harrison, in a small old watch store. That first store was only $300 number of square feet stuck on Las Vegas Boulevard. They sold coins and other items during the day. Rick worked at the counter at night. He got money by taking back cars. The bills, but he had bigger plans for him and his dad. Hoped to turn their store into a real porn shop. The catch was that the law in Las Vegas made that almost it's not possible to just open a porn site. Since 1955, you could shop whenever you wanted. City linked porn licenses to number of people. Every time the city hit a certain number of new titles, Rick did what most people would do, he opened up. Surely he began calling the cities every single week. A scientist to get people to hit the next. In 1989, Vegas hit the magic mark. The number, and Rick jumped on the Harrison. The family got a porn license, and the gold and silver porn shop opened, just not on the Strip but in the middle of the what to do. From there the numbers started going up quickly. By 2005 Rick and his dad was giving out loans for almost $3 million a year. From that alone about $700,000 every year. Just from that was before things got interesting. Blew up. The shop turned into a place where people gambled away their Rolexes to pay for gas money, where sports fans bought and sold things from the past, and where every day brought in a strange or uncommon way. But Rick didn't just want foot traffic. In the early 2000s, the store caught the eye of a PBS program and a movie about insomniac. Rick on Comedy Central saw seeing the show's promise. He began to pitch it. He tried to get HBO to show it for years. Through YouTube to anyone who would listen. Nothing got stuck until 2009. When the History Channel took over and the show Porn Stars was born. Just real people coming in with real stuff with the hope of leaving with cash, but the formula wasn't what made it work. It was Rick with his dry wit and sharp eyes. And a lot about just about everything from old guns to video games, bull rings. Rick became a big star. And this is where things really changed. The truth shows that after a couple of so far this season, Porn Stars have in 2023, it has shown 633 shows over 21 seasons. That doesn't happen often. That's history, so much that the History Channel even renews the show in 80-episode chunks, which it doesn't happen very often in TV. The shop was a tourist draw that brought over 4,000 people a day at its busiest, and Rick's wealth grew at the same rate. However, while the cameras caught deals and laughs Rick was making behind the scenes, he made smart business moves and he put his money into gold and real estate, silver markets, and when prices went up, began to heat up in the 2020s. Rick was, you may have seen, ahead of the curve, letting Fox Business know about it while other people were being scared about with prices going up and banks being unstable. Rick was, he's loud about adding metal. He said that the US government is putting out money like confetti, and silver and gold are being bought to protect. How much money they had for Fort Knox has 147.3 million ounces of gold in it, but Rick isn't sure if everything is still there. He has asked for checks to be done. Supply chain holes, and talked about how South Korea and other places have capped gold sales because the government is keeping it. For Rick, having gold isn't flashy, it's a necessity. That's not just an idea, that's how he's acting. Taking care of his $9 million estate. But Rick doesn't just care about money. Harrison has made a full-blown one-culture machine that goes a long way more than a Las Vegas porn counter. His son Corey Harrison, who fans no better. Big Hose didn't just walk into built the business he grew up in with Corey to clean the metal in the back room, following his dad around and learning the trade from the bottom up. He's now not only a manager at the Gold and Silver full-time porn shop, but also one of the most important people on Porn Stars if he's about to close deals on tickets or beating sellers' bids. With Corey has sharp senses and has turned himself into a business force, and Rick, that's the real wealth that lasts for generations. Giving away more than cash. There is the game, and then there is Chumley. Austin Russell, Corey's favorite books as a child. Chris Humley is a friend and porn star. Wild card. Began as the silly friend who made fun of his way through shows, but now he's the person Rick trusts with Pokemon cards, sneakers, old toys, and the man knows how to handle pop culture items. Cost things you likely forgot about, worth anything. And this is 2025. What you know is more valuable than ever in Porn Stars. Do Season 2. People in America find a collector in Florida with more than $1.2 million. That's a lot of Pokemon cards. In 2022, only one card was sold at auction for $900,000, and Rick says he doesn't understand the buzz, but Chumley does, which is why the store now makes more than $1 million. You'll spend a year on trade cards. Watch Rick and his team dive into a rare picture of Colonel Sanders in Kentucky. That one cost Rick $1,900, but he thought the real worth was the story because memorabilia from pop culture. I really like this old KFC Coca-Cola movie ads bring back memories. Brings people back to a memory, and that everyday things become emotional hooks. A six-figure fortune, as Rick puts it. It's not about what you remember when a whole generation thinks of that. Rick has also been where the real money is. Porn, putting a lot of money on old cars. He picks up a 1971 Great in Providence for $54,000 and a 1957 Ford Thunderbird in Ann Arbor for $40,000. Rick knows that these are things that value rise if you know where to look and how to handle. The craziest part, fans wait in line to see him do all of this. A lot of people all around the block show up just to see what the crew does. They find the best deals in the strangest places, and this season not only are the things getting attention, but on Rick during a stop in Kentucky gave him an award as a Kentucky Colonel. Is a term that comes straight from the governor of the state. That honor is, it's not just about TV numbers. Leadership, morals, and service. In the same ways that made a cheap turn your store into a worldwide chain, these three made a porn shop hot. Time. Gold, and Rick, let's talk about gold, also knows how to spend it, but always take that one-of-a-kind moment with a plan. When he paid more than twice what was being asked price for a letter from an author from the 1800s. The seller was Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Asked for $300 after verifying Rick on offer $700, not because he got caught in, but because he knew what it was real and would bring in a lot more. Rick believes in long-term value. Spend more to make more later. What makes a difference is plan, not emotion. What does this mean for his family? They're getting more than just a store or a brand. They're taking over a machine, a company that gave out $3 million in loans of the year, a show that millions of people around the world, and a vault full of gold, silver, very rare souvenirs that are made to last. Now for the part that comes next. That hurts the most. When Rick's dad died in 2018, but the porn shop didn't close. It lost its co-founder. Spine of the old man Richard Harrison were a must for Porn Stars. Dry fun, quick wit, and decades of he looked grumpy and knew a lot of things. Was the one who began everything, taking a trip with a used store back in 1981, and he had made $5 million from the shop and the popular show. But this is where things changed before he died. In that, Richard changed his will. In the new version, he made it very clear who was going to get a piece of through his will. His wife Joanne stayed in the will. Rick, the store's face, did the same thing. And the person who ran the business running for decades, his other sons Chris and Joseph, were also named. Until the 2017 version took them out. Christopher was fully cut out by Richard. He had no shares, no fortune, and he didn't hide it. The will said it straight out. That even though he loved and cared for her, Christopher thought he was being disinherited on purpose. It was a legal move that made news for how it looked like no one in the family has ever told them why it happened to this. Every day, the real reason stays hidden. But it's clear that Richard didn't want there to be any doubt about who should take charge of the Harrison heritage, Rick being left in charge of that comes with, and then there were the cases. After Richard's death, Joanne Harrison, Rick's mother, went to court over she claimed to be in charge of the porn shop that while she was in the hospital back in 2000, Rick had her sign over her 51%. Richard took over the business when she says she should have received when he died. Those left over 49% means they have full control of the shop, but her claim says that Rick didn't give her all the proof she asks for. Someone took $500,000 in cash and silver. Without a sign, she wants to cause harm. Wants a report on her assets and to tell the judge to stop Rick's use of anything related to the family land, and that's where feelings show, because this isn't about TV money. We're no longer talking about property fights, claims of missing gold, and a son is being sued by his mother over the, if you've ever thought about it, family business. This is where Rick had it easy. That plan doesn't work out, though. Rick moves forward even though the law. He keeps quiet while drama plays out behind the scenes. He made a list of his big moves for 2019. $3.99 gets you a fancy house in Las Vegas. This was a castle that was almost 9,000 square feet with 7 bathrooms and 4 bedrooms, a home theater with 12 seats, and a wine cellar that has a pond and can hold 1,000 bottles style pool with a 10-foot waterfall, river, and spa. He fell $600,000 to fix up the granite, just the flooring cost. Rick built it for his family for $45,000, but the space became too much. So he wrote it down and let. Rick doesn't want to end the story, but just buy homes. He spends a lot of money based on what he knows best. Collecting one, some of his most amazing deals took place. In 2025, he went into a nearby art gallery in Las Vegas and saw a very rare set of unique pictures from where the Maurice Sendak's Wild Things were the real thing. Handwritten pages from a childhood favorite that was never officially took the owner to the market. $375,000 for the set that Rick brought in expert who gave the pieces an appraisal at $310,000, but Rick didn't move. Fought hard and came to an agreement on $250,000, which made it one of the biggest buys in porn stars' past. He knew the deal was about how much those picture prices won't go down. Rick knows that they'll like it. What does that mean for the wealth he's building? So the question now is bigger: what's going to happen with all this? Priceless items worth millions of dollars, rare metals. When Rick leaves, this is where the tears come in. Rick is setting up a legacy that isn't just there's money in the bank, history, and the ideas that its deals are based on. He knows and risks that his son Corey is next. Corey has been in the game for a while now, having worked the floor since he was a child, shooting the show and learning every view. But taking over Rick's business won't be easy. But there's stress and family. There's stress because of the claim from his grandmother, and then there's the taking on a man's mental weight. Used porn to become a worldwide brand. There are more people who are affected than just Corey. Tracy, Rick's ex-wife, and Kim, his ex-wife, and Amanda Palmer, his third wife, whom he married in 2021. That's a big family. And when lots of money meets a lot of problems, when people are together, things often get messy. It's not just one porn shop that Rick left behind. It's a whole on Las Vegas Boulevard ecosystem of money, cash, gold, rare fees for collectibles, real estate. Shows now a new video project you've seen. Rick buys old coins that have been signed, guitars, and $250,000 piece of art, but in 2025 he's something that could make him rich even more. The microphone. Rick Harrison is putting out a new blog, and it's not just him. Chumley is. It's called Porn After Dark, and it's going to be available on video services early 2025. Think about 2 of the sounds you know from porn stars are open the screen and talk from behind the scenes. Sells rare and crazy things. Customers and not having cams with them. The buzz is already real around the Tracy. The show's former executive producer Whitaker is on board and is said to be a guest. Some names that show up are Las Vegas Mark Davis, owner of the Raiders, and ZZ Top. That podcast. A guitarist named Billy Gibbons alone could bring in millions of dollars in sponsors. Are setting up networks for streaming. Rick is watching and has full control of it. But take a step back and ask the bigger what do you think happens when Rick steps right away to get a good start with the numbers. Rick's projected net worth at the moment at $9 million, which includes his $100,000 porn stars pay them a fee per show. which has now had 21 seasons and still going. Not only does that work on TV, in the past, networks rarely order 80. Rick made that happen one episode at a time. He changed a piss hole in one place into a well-known name across the country, and the power doesn't end with him and his son Corey Harrison. Big Hose is worth about $4 million and has been working in the store since he was a teen. Corey has tried to. Rick takes on more duty as he grows into media and even wrote a book about his life. Licensed to porn that goes into his own trip and rides with the family business. He's also bought risky things, like a $38,000 boat, and keeps the younger people who were glued to the. And then there's Chumley Austin Russell, who might look like the funny that's good, but he's a major brand on his own. He began at the porn shop when he was 21 years old and now he owns Chumley's and makes $25,000 per show. The candy shop on the boulevard is a fun store. With its own fan base, his net worth is about $5 million, but even with all of that, Rick still likes Corey the most. Strong enough to run the business that's caused trouble, and fans saw that play out in a 2024 YouTube video where Rick said Chumley did a bad job with a rare. He said it was a sloppy deal with coins. I wanted to become a manager, but Rick made it clear that he trusts Corey. Leia is now in the rest of Rick's world. He owns high-end properties, such as the $3.99 million home in Summerlin, stone floors, and a 12-seater home, 10 feet of water flow, and a lazy river. That's a lot of money for most porn brokers. Never see that he's still making money from porn stars that has started spin-offs like porn stars do in that show, America, Rick Corey, and he went on the road to meet with sellers. It's brought the brand has new life, and it's been the brand living after Las Vegas shopfront. Which brings us back to the title. Rick Harrison leaves behind a luck that makes his family cry, because there are different kinds of tears. Some are about being proud, and some are about being hurt. When Rick finally gives up, or when that $9 million is taken from his assets. Doesn't go quietly, it gets ready. Son, a co-star who wants more, and a mom who thinks she's owed half the business that takes you to a place that was built with care by 3 generations. But still has cracks that need to be fixed, and that's why Rick's next steps are important. He is investing in journalism and is getting into it. Things to collect that don't go up in value. He has hard things that are depreciating. Inflation is making the market shake, but he's letting his kids help him run the store. But he's also teaching them how to make fans still believe in a future after it. I care about what he does next, since Rick did more than just build a sex shop. Built a plan. And when that every part of a plan turns into a will, the cash and real estate will matter. The claims and royalties for the podcast The Family Tree, Rick Harrison's story beginning with a $3 loan for a used radio. He's now worth a lot of money, and when it turns out that luck could do 2 things. Things either bring his family closer together or separate them, taking them apart.